SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Hey, good morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, and to you, we say good morning. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Appreciate you starting your day with us. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. We got lots coming up for you this morning. There are so many good things that are happening at William Carey University in Hattiesburg. And we're going to get a chance to visit with the president of the university coming up this morning. Looking forward to that at 7:20. Dr. Ben Burnett will join us. And also Dr. Italo Subbarao. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to have to ask him how to pronounce his last name and make sure that I didn't just butcher it. A lot of good stuff, though, happening with the medical school at William Carey, with their nursing programs, with some of the business programs that are tied in with local businesses. We'll get an update on all of those things. And in the 8 o'clock hour, Jamie Lissow will join us. If you're trying to kind of scratch your head and go, where does that name ring a bell? Do you watch Gutfeld? Are you a comedy fan? Jamie Lissow, regular guest on Gutfeld, part of his kind of a recurring panel, you might say. He's got a show coming up in Hattiesburg at the Saenger Theater on Saturday, and we're going to get a chance to visit with him this morning. And I'll admit something now. I think I'm going to say this to him. I think I'm going to start the interview with this. I don't know why, but I feel like interviewing a comedian is about the hardest thing. It's about the hardest interview for me. And I don't know if it's because I feel like I'm supposed to be funny, or if I'm supposed to set them up for jokes or tee them up or just get out of the way and let them do their thing and it's like a set, or are we like talking about the serious side of being a comedian, like the process? I don't know. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm looking forward to the conversation. Funny guy, Jamie Lissow. Lance, good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah,
how do you interview a comedian?
Just have fun.
Yeah, well,
you do anything else?
We'll try.
Let it roll, baby.
We will try.
He's had some, he's a very interesting guy. I've really enjoyed him on Gutfeld at the times that I've watched him, and just looking and reading a little bit more about him to learn about him, because I knew he's a comedian and knew he's an actor, but he's pretty diverse as far as the folks that he has collaborated with and the things that he's done. So I'm really looking forward to it. Be an interesting interview, and I don't really know how you would interview a comedian any other way than just straight at him, because I'm sure he can come up with the comedy just fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice today.
Beautiful.
Not cool, but nice. I will tell you when it's cool. I mean, okay, you walk out of the house first thing in the morning, and it's been nice, but it warms up quickly. The 6 o'clock until sun goes down, man, that's when it's felt amazing. Windows down, sunroof back, little cool, no humidity. Almost makes you want to get out and exercise. Almost. Iuka, you got plentiful sunshine today. Warm, though, at 88. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Greenville, some sun in the morning, increasing clouds during the afternoon. Very warm, high near 90. Winds out of the north at 5 to 10. Partly cloudy skies for you today in Macomb, at least during the morning hours. Then it's going to become a little more overcast this afternoon. High in the upper 80s. Winds out of the north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour for Macomb. And in Bay St. Louis, you got partly cloudy skies this morning. Going to be a little more cloudy this afternoon. 88 with winds out of the north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. In terms of land area, we're not a small state. It's crazy to me where it's like, okay, you can be separated by 500 miles northeast or northwest Mississippi to southeast Mississippi, and within a degree, it is exactly the same forecast.
It doesn't work that way all the time. But it's been
not.
Pretty much rubber stamp weather the last, 4 or 5 days. Yeah, nothing very varied in there other than, like you said, about a degree.
Yeah.
But, man, it gets pretty scorching out there in the heat if you're not in the shade, about midday, a little early afternoon. But it's nice in the shade, It's just a matter of picking your spot.
It's a different kind of hot, too, than it was a month ago.
Just dry.
But you can work up a lather in a hurry.
Oh, man. I mean, I've started sweating very easily doing very minimal things, but like I overseeded the front yard and the side yesterday, and I walked around for like 10 minutes, it's in the direct sunlight, hosed it down a little bit after I got done just to get the seed a little damp, and I was drenched, man. I think I was wetter than the yard was, but yeah.
Did you use rye or something else?
Yeah, a little overseed rye, some golf course, baseball field, that type of rye. The short-growing, thick, high traffic.
There you go.
For the winter. And I redid the whole backyard. So, yeah, it's been a progress, but everything's coming in now like you had hair transplants, and it's just starting to have some fuzz on top. It's very nice. Little sprouts. Yeah, it's beautiful, though. So it's after the last 3 months of my horse dog just absolutely destroying it because of the weather and over tree hang and, just – now it's coming back and got it all stanchioned off, and man, he just keeps looking at it like, I'm gonna have me a pasture to run in. Yes, sir. It's coming.
Then you're gonna run on the same line over and over and over, and you're gonna make the pasture go away.
he'll have a cut.
Vary our route just a little bit, pup.
Yeah. He's got a route, man. That's what's good about breaking it up, like having to do this once every blue moon, because it makes him actually get out of the habit of his. It's very defined route. Of a path through the yard. So bird dogs are very predictable.
Jacques Necker was born on this day in 1732. The former French finance minister of Louis XVI, whose decisions contributed to the outbreak of the French Revolution, which I don't know that's necessarily how you want to be remembered.
A big spender, apparently.
Yeah. Truman Capote, born on this day in 1924, American author. Breakfast at Tiffany's, In Cold Blood. He is a New Orleanian. Fran Drescher. She's 68 today, born in 1957. I am fighting the urge. Do you want to do it? Okay, that'll be good.
Well, hey, and Beauty and the Beautician and the Beast, not a bad movie, actually, with Timothy Dalton, James Bond.
Also in Cadillac Man and The Nanny, Fran Drescher, born in Queens, New York. And then the young, talented race car driver, Max Verstappen.
Dude, I mean, does he ever lose?
Not very often. He won the F1 World Drivers' Championship 21, 22, 23, 24. Max Verstappen, 28 years old today.
Now, you can pretty much tune into any of those events, and the last 5 laps, if he's winning, he's won. I mean, it's done.
Yeah,
it's done. It's money in the bank.
This day in 1955, American actor and cultural icon James Dean killed in a car crash at the young age of 24. He looked a whole lot older than 24.
Yeah, he did. That's miles.
1960, The Flintstones, the first animated sitcom created by Hanna-Barbera, made its premiere on ABC in the United States. Well,
I was a fan, man. I liked the old Flintstones.
I haven't fully committed to it yet. It's like I got the Fred Flintstone hollering from Wilma. Like it's right there, but maybe one more cup of coffee.
I love the names, though. I mean, that was the best part about it. Like Barney Rubble, Fred Flintstone, everything had the Mr. Slate and all that, whatever it was.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. Howard Stern was fired from WNBC in New York on this day in 1985. I don't know if he was able to ever get his career going again or not, but young radio guy got sent to the house. Jerry Springer's tabloid talk show, The Jerry Springer Show, debuted on television in syndication this day in 1991. A Montana man a year ago sentenced to 6 months in prison for illegally using large Marco Polo sheep tissue and testicles to clone giant hybrid sheep.
I remember that one.
For trophy hunting. And finally, on today, this is a day that will be historic. AOL discontinuing dial-up service officially.
From the Venable
Mornings with Richard Cross.
People want to hear the truth, man. That's what we're going to do.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
You got me for a second. Oh, man. I mean, I think 50 years from now, I'm still fortunate enough to be in the land of the living. I could hear that noise and immediately be just... Connect, doggone it. I want to check my Prodigy mail.
Prodigy.net. Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Thank goodness that went away.
So after 30 years of AOL, give or take?
Yeah, I had no problem with AOL. It's just the dial-up stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's brutal. What I was. I mean, that was transporting me back to...
That was term papers, man.
7th grade? 93? Probably 32, 33 years ago? It's crazy.
Yeah, I was a freshman, sophomore in college. Ooh. Yeah, that was a new tech right there, baby. Talking about the computer labs. They got interesting quick.
I remember getting to college and just being blown away with the idea that they had, I think they called it at the time, T1 lines.
Or something like that, yeah.
I mean, it was like this high-speed network where you could stream that music from Napster or whatever. All right, let's get to some news headlines. We got a bunch. A trio of Mississippi high school students have been named U.S. presidential scholars. Long Beach High School's Alexis Griffith, Jackson Prep's Nicholas Katsaboulis, and Gulfport's Jackson Pierce were among 161 high school seniors recognized by Secretary of Education Linda McMahon for their accomplishments in academics, the arts, and career and technical fields. Of the nearly 4 million students who graduated from high school this past year, more than 6,400 candidates for the 2025 award based on performance on the SAT or the ACT exam are nominations made by chief state high school officers and partner organizations. Anyway, point being, there were a lot of kids that were eligible for this. 2 students from each state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and U.S. families living abroad are selected as U.S. presidential scholars. The honorees include an additional 15 chosen at large, 20 chosen specifically in the arts, and 20 chosen specifically in CTE areas, career and technical education. So congratulations to the 3 from Mississippi out of 161 nationally. A lot of uncertainty yesterday afternoon. Mississippi Delta Community College in Moorhead was placed on lockdown following the report of an armed individual on campus. The lockdown was lifted after the suspect was apprehended in Belzona. Campus police received the report around 1 o'clock. College initiated a lockdown while law enforcement conducted a search of the campus. Identity has not yet been released of the suspect. He was 25 miles away when they found him. No injuries reported, no indications of an active shooter or shots fired, according to police. And that certainly is good because, I don't know, about 3 yesterday afternoon, we were getting messages like, hey, what's going on at Mississippi Delta? It's kind of hard to find the information, but ultimately nothing, thankfully. Following the decision by Starbucks to close a whole bunch of stores, we got news late last week that the Starbucks in Ridgeland on County Line Road is one of those that will be closing.
Across the street from me.
And when I say will be closing, I mean has closed. Shut her down. Lance, you actually are going to have to bring me breakfast next time I'm there.
Because that's your spot, yeah.
That was my spot.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that if you are not going to that particular Starbucks at 5:30 in the morning, because at 5:30 in the morning there was zero hassle, no traffic, barely had to even wait for the red light, getting off of Ridgeland and jumping over to County Line Road and, whip in and no traffic and you order it ahead and it's ready to go. I understand that is not the experience. So, whether you're trying to, grab the burger at the burger place or go over there to the golf shop or get Starbucks or whatever, that is a hard turn in and turn out.
Oh, it's brutal, man. Anything through there. It's just,
yeah.
Anytime you're putting a retail establishment, where you need people in and out of it, and you can't get in and out. I can't imagine.
That's a problem.
During the day, buddy, I don't know how you get in and out of that little stretch through there. Yeah. There's a Whataburger down there. It's a little better because you're a little further down, but man, that Starbucks is locked right there.
Yeah. A sign posted to the door said the store would be closed by the end of the week. On Monday morning, though, crews were spotted readying to take down the two-tailed siren sign with a locksmith company vehicle pulling in to shut it down also. No other stores in Mississippi have reportedly been impacted. Starbucks has at least 30 locations across the state, with one of those remaining open in Ridgeland at the Renaissance at Colony Park. I am waiting, not even patiently, but just waiting for, their coffee's no good anyway on the C Spire text line.
They got good coffee.
That's not bad.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. Garden Mama blend's better, but...
Yeah, baristas impacted by the closures were offered severance packages and transfers to other stores and other locations. They laid off about 900 non-retail employees. The company expected to spend $1 billion on the restructuring, including about $150 million on employee separation benefits and another $850 million related to the physical stores closing and the cost of exiting leases and all that jazz. They haven't officially released the list of all 500 stores that are closing, but a lot of them. There certainly are a lot.
It's amazing, though, the run that Starbucks had. You remember first hearing about it, and then it became a huge, huge brand. Anything that gets that big, though, if it's not run extremely well, and I can say during the COVID era and probably during the woke, you go broke moment, I would imagine a company like Starbucks probably embraced a little bit of that and maybe is paying the price. But at the same time, the expansion they had for so long was epic. They grew and grew and grew, and it's hard to believe you can grow that fast, that long, and not have a retraction at some point. I hope that they figure it out. Honestly, it's a great company, whether you like their politics or not. They've created a fabric for people to enjoy, which is coffee. I don't think there was a place like that before it came around. Kind of a unique cultural phenomenon to me. I like to see them succeed, but at the same time, you got to make money at what you do.
That's right. Authorities in the Golden Triangle were caught off guard over the weekend when a citizen brought a live grenade to a law enforcement facility. The unidentified individual took what appeared to be a military-style grenade to the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Eddie Hawkins reported that the citizen brought the explosive device for disposal purposes, not to harm anybody. Deputies had to secure the area, contacted the Tupelo Police Department bomb squad. The bomb squad from Tupelo used X-ray technology to examine the device, determined that the grenade was a live explosive. It was safely removed from the scene and will be properly disposed of. A message from Sheriff Hawkins: do not transport or handle explosive devices.
So he just showed up with a grenade? Is that what happened? Mm-hmm. What I gather from that? He didn't call in advance and say, hey, man, I need to bring this in. Yeah, that'd get you thrown in jail, it sounds like.
If you discover a suspicious device, grenade, or ordnance, immediately move to a safe distance. Call 911 so trained personnel can respond and ensure safe disposal. We want to express our gratitude to the Tupelo Bomb Squad for their swift response and professionalism in addressing this incident. Did I tell you what happened to me a couple of weeks ago? I don't think I did, Lance. So
hope it wasn't a bomb scare.
No. Our colleague Gary Darby calls me, and he says, hey, there's a package addressed to you that was delivered to a business on the square, but it was addressed to Rick Cross. Huh. And I was like, oh, well, okay. He said, do you want them to just run it over to your wife's store? I was like, sure, that's fine. So Jane sees it. I forget to tell her it's coming. She opens it up and kind of weirded out. She's like, you need to come look at this. It's like, all right. So I ran up there, opened it up, and inside this box is a pair of Gap sunglasses, a word search book, and a Minecraft book. And black plastic shrink wrap something. You open up the black plastic, inside you've got clear plastic. Inside that, dried mushrooms.
What?
It was like a Silk Road package from somewhere in California. Like yeah. I'll tell you the rest of the story on the other side of the break. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the sea.
Rise and shine with information and insight.
Check it out. Check it out.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
So the pen was apparently still in the grenade, James. James in Oxford on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. James, thanks for being with us. Love to hear from you this morning as well. The C Spire text line is the best way to do just that. Looking for game-changing technology? You need C Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber, home internet, and business IT solutions. Built as tough as your defense. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. All right, so I get the package. It's clearly not to me. It's labeled Rick Cross.
I'm telling you, it's supposed to be Rick Ross.
It's not the address that corresponds with Jane on the square. But because this person that I knew and that Darby knows and has for a long time saw that, it's the only name that made sense to them, so they sent it our way. So I tried to call McCutcheon, Jeff McCutcheon, the chief of police, and be like, hey, what do you want me to do with this thing? He didn't answer. So I got a buddy that's an FBI agent. I called him, and I said, you're never going to guess what I'm calling about. He goes, not even going to try. What's up? So I explained it to him. He goes, wait, what? I said, look, man, I just don't know what to do with this. I said, I'm pretty sure that these are These are mushrooms that were sent from the West Coast, assuming to, do whatever you do with mushrooms. And I'm not being silly when I say this. He goes, man, you probably want to take that to the DEA office. Or not DEA, but Metro Narcotics. I was like, okay. He's like, I think they're across the street in the City Hall. I walk over to City Hall and the whole building's under construction right now. So now I'm calling around trying to figure out whether. So I take it to the Metro Narcotics office, and there's nobody there for Metro Narcotics, but there's a lady lets me in. She goes, I explained to her what's going on. She's like, come on in. And a couple of the task force guys, I can't remember which in particular, they came out, and they just started laughing at me. I was like, hey, I got to be. He said, so you ordered this? No, I didn't order this. It doesn't have my name on it. It's not my address. I'm like, I'm just giving it to you. I said, I can go toss it in the dumpster if you want to. Like, no, we probably better leave it. So they'll probably send it off for some kind of testing and then figure out, destroy it, whatever. That was weird, though, man.
Yeah, that's.
But the craziest thing was and I'm sure they did it from like if there's some sort of an X-ray scanner or whatever. What's in the box? Oh, it's a couple of books and some sunglasses. All right, pass it through.
It's an odd mixture, too. It's like somebody hid the mushrooms in some junk is what it was.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I bet they go to, like, yard sales and just buy junk.
Yeah, just
it's like,
junk,
hey, I need $3 worth of books that nobody cares about and knickknacks. Mm-hmm. We'll throw the knickknacks in a box and off we go.
There you go. I mean, that's... And they didn't have any idea if it was like, it wasn't cooking mushrooms, obviously. I mean, they thought, it wasn't like somebody was having a big dinner.
I did ask them, like, what, do you just eat these? They're like, I guess. Or said a lot of people kind of boil them down and put them in tea. I was like, well, that gives new meaning to herbal tea.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of spooky, too, getting it in a package like that, and Rick Cross, and I would have imagined, I would have worried it was a bomb.
Yeah. It was not.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Awful story coming to an end here. Louisiana man Daniel Callahan pleaded guilty in Mississippi earlier this week, on yesterday actually, to charges related to a case in which he killed his girlfriend before taking her daughters across state lines, killing one of them. The plea by Callahan is the third life-saving one that he has made over the last 2 months, ensuring he doesn't have to face the death penalty. Which I'm sure as you hear more about this, you may agree with me that the death penalty would be too kind anyway. Pleaded guilty on August 7th in federal court and on September 26th in Louisiana State Court, sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in Louisiana, life without parole in Mississippi, and he's going to be sentenced to a minimum of life in prison by a federal judge later this year. Charges Callahan pleaded guilty to in Mississippi included 1 count of capital murder, 2 counts of sexual battery, 2 counts of kidnapping, faced similar charges in Louisiana. If you don't remember the story, the details of the story, good. June 12th of last year, the now 38-year-old Callahan killed his 35-year-old girlfriend inside her trailer in Laranger, Louisiana, kidnapped her 2 daughters, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. Law enforcement arrested Callahan a day later at a home on Bouger Drive in Jackson. They also found the body of Erin. Jaylee was found alive, transported to a local hospital. She's been living with family members ever since. The indictment by a Mississippi grand jury later revealed that Callahan molested Jaylee. Further court records said he stabbed Burnett some 50 times before holding the girls inside a Jackson hotel room, abusing them and leaving them to die under a mattress. During his perp walk on June 14th in Hinds County, he fessed up to the crimes and told reporters that he wanted the death penalty. He said, I've told them everything I did. I've agreed not to fight it. For what I did, lethal injection is the easiest thing for me. Yeah, we're not real interested in lethal injection, although I guess that's what this cat's going to get. Well, actually, he's not. He's going to get life in prison. He went on to partially blame his actions on an antidepressant while claiming he has dissociative identity disorder, which is when a person has multiple distinct personalities with various identities controlling their behavior at different times, per the Cleveland Clinic. A sober Callahan and his attorneys did all they could to recant his petition to be killed, leading to all 3 plea deals, not including the death penalty, yet resulting in him never leaving a prison yard again. Perhaps there will be some indie justice in that Louisiana prison where he lives. I got to give you one more good news story to try to cleanse the palate from that. Leftovers from fraternity houses at Ole Miss are finding a new purpose, feeding students who might otherwise go without a meal. The Interfraternity Council, or IFC, which represents 16 fraternities on campus, has partnered with Grove Grocery, the campus food pantry, to fight students' hunger throughout a program called Grove to Table. 4 days a week, fraternity volunteers package unused meals prepared by house chefs and stock refrigerators placed around campus. Any student can grab a meal, no questions asked. Braden Waters, president of the IFC, said every student deserves a good meal, and we have the resources to make that happen. Credits the idea to the house mom at his fraternity house who suggested the extra food might be put to a better use. They worked with others to create the program. Food insecurity, growing problem on college campuses. A Healthy Minds survey found that 28% of Ole Miss students struggle with reliable access to food. National research shows nearly 4 million college students experience some level of food insecurity each year. Fraternities are not the only partners. Viking Range donated a refrigerator to go in the student union's transit center. Meals are stocked Monday through Thursday. And since 2020, Greek-like organizations have also provided Friday leftovers to Oxford residents through a partnership with the Oxford Community Market called Flower of Life. Good news there. Good stuff happening. A couple of sports headlines for you. Our sports headlines each morning are brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Got a couple of big shows coming up at Pearl River Resort. You can get your tickets online at pearlriverresort.com. Trinidad Chambliss has been named the Associated Press National Player of the Week. The Division II Ferris State transfer to Ole Miss earned the national honor along with SEC Co-Offensive Player of the Week after aiding in Ole Miss's 24-19 win over LSU. It was his third start for the now fourth-ranked Rebels, 22 of 39, 314 yards, a touchdown, threw one interception, had a rushing touchdown as well, sacked. No, he didn't. He did not have a rushing touchdown in this game. 8 of his completions were for 15 or more yards, and he had 71 yards rushing in the game as well. Has quickly become a fan favorite. On Saturday, all over campus and even downtown, you could see Trinidad and Tobago flags and posts, profiles, memes, and actual flags hanging on Grove tents. Trinidad said, "It's funny. I love it. All the flags, the tailgate's really cool. My family loves it too." Ole Miss right guard Patrick Kudus earned SEC Co-Offensive Lineman of the Week awards as well. Major League Baseball playoffs start today. Let's see. You've got... hold on. I had them. Here they are. Detroit and Cleveland play at noon today on ESPN. San Diego is in Chicago for a 2 o'clock matchup on ABC with the Cubs. Red Sox and Yankees renew their rivalry in the playoffs at 5 o'clock Central Time on ESPN. And Cincinnati meets Los Angeles tonight at 8 o'clock, also on ESPN. That's your sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We're back right after this.
From the
Reaching across the state and across the aisle. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you this morning. It's time for your daily lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. Find them online at mslottery.com. There was no jackpot winner on Lotto America, but one ticket matched all five out of five white balls and purchased the $1 All-Star bonus to double their prize to $40,000. The ticket was purchased at Kangaroo Crossing in Kosciuszko. Estimated jackpot for tomorrow night's Lotto America drawing, Wednesday, October 1st, $3.87 million. There was no jackpot winner on Powerball last night, so tomorrow night's drawing will be $174 million. That's the estimated jackpot, with an estimated cash prize of almost $81 million. And a big Mega Millions drawing tonight, $497 million, the estimated jackpot. The estimated cash value, just a shade under $230 million. That is your Mississippi Lottery update. They do have some new games that are coming out next week. The new lineup includes Lucky Numbers, Bingo Night, and Cash Money. You can learn all about those online at mslottery.com. Your daily lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. The state of Louisiana is getting in on the National Guard request game. Not that it's actually a game. Governor Jeff Landry in Louisiana sent a message to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. He said the state of Louisiana is officially submitting a request for federal assistance to activate up to 1,000 Louisiana National Guard personnel through the end of this fiscal year. This deployment under the command of the Adjunct General would support state and federal law enforcement agencies in addressing ongoing public safety concerns regarding high crime rates throughout the state. Louisiana currently faces a convergence of elevated violent crime rates in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, coupled with critical personnel shortages within local law enforcement. These manpower shortages limit their ability to effectively address the public safety threat, and consequently, incidents of homicide, carjacking, and gang-related violence significantly exceed the national average. He goes on to write, this request builds upon the successful model of Title 32 deployments in other jurisdictions, including Washington, D.C. and Tennessee, and will provide critical support during several high-profile events, including the Bayou Classic, the Sugar Bowl, and Mardi Gras. Thank you for your continued support to the state of Louisiana and for your commitment to keeping our country safe and secure. So we've got D.C., Los Angeles, Memphis, and now Louisiana requesting federal help with law enforcement as well.
It seems like there may be a problem out there.
Thomas says, so welfare law enforcement is a thing now. Manpower shortage, so give us law enforcement welfare. I suppose, Thomas, in the way that you view the world, that is one way to look at this request.
Aren't they already being paid, though? I mean, it is the National Guard and ICE, and they have a job. It's not like you're pulling them off the street and just handing them a bucket of cash, to go around and patrol. These guys have jobs, right? And so, you're just taking them their focus from one thing and putting it over here where there apparently is a great need.
Seems like a reasonable use of resources, and it's been effective. It has been. YouTube has agreed to pay $24.5 million to settle a 2021 lawsuit that President Trump brought against the company and its chief executive over its suspension of Trump's account after that year's riot at the United States Capitol. The settlement makes YouTube, which is owned by Alphabet's Google, the final big tech company to settle a trio of lawsuits that Trump brought against social media platforms in the months after he left the White House. Meta agreed in January to pay $25 million, parent company of Facebook, most of it to go into a fund for Trump's presidential library. X, Elon Musk's company, agreed to pay $10 million, much of it going directly to Trump, according to the Wall Street Journal. Google executives were eager to keep their settlement smaller than the one paid by their rival Meta. Trump's share of the settlement, $22 million, will go to the nonprofit Trust for the National Mall, earmarked for the construction of a Mar-a-Lago-style ballroom that Trump is building at the White House. Estimated cost of $200 million would be funded by donations from Trump himself and quote-unquote other patriot donors. A further $2.5 million will go to other plaintiffs in the case, a group that includes the American Conservative Union and writer Naomi Wolf. The settlement does not mention attorney fees. Google had no comment.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
And now, Mornings with Richard Cross.
What's up?
Let's get the show going.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Glad to be with you this morning. Last day of the month of September 30th, 2025. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. This hour of the show is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you are struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services and a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. Again, the website, MWGEmployerServices.com. The C-Spire text line is open. That's the best way for you to connect with us. Your team has you covered on the field. C-Spire has you covered everywhere else with the best technology for home, work, and on the go. Backed by 24/7 customer support. Learn more at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. We are glad to be with you this morning. We'll grab a couple of messages on the C-Spire text line. Leslie in Grenada wants match 5 lottery numbers. We can work those in for you sometimes, Leslie, but a reminder, you can get all of those numbers every single day on the website, the Mississippi Lottery website, mslottery.com. A couple of you pointed out that National Guard soldiers, when you bring them into active duty, you have to pay them more than they are making when they are not active. Okay. Thomas says asking for National Guard to deploy to fight crime may just be virtue signaling to the base. It's wildly popular with some Republicans and politicians. I mean, there may be a level of virtue signaling that's there, Thomas, but there also is a level of effectiveness that we have seen. And you can't argue with that, right? I mean, the issues that they were having in Los Angeles stopped almost immediately after the arrival of the National Guard. The crime in Washington, D.C. dropped precipitously after the deployment of the National Guard into our nation's capital. We'll see what happens in Memphis. It does at least appear that it is more of a partnership with other federal law enforcement and local law enforcement in Memphis, and it sounds like that's what Jeff Landry's asking for in Louisiana as well. Let's see here. Trump pays for the ballroom through Victory's fundraising and his Persia One funds. Obama got John Q. taxpayer to pay for a basketball court. One of these things is not like the other. Look, I mean, I am certainly not trying to come to the defense of Barack Obama here. But pretty much every president makes some improvements or changes to the White House. You don't always see them. What was it, John F. Kennedy that put a putting green in the backyard or the side yard at the White House?
Somebody installed a bowling alley, and you got all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Who was it that put the bowling alley in?
It was back in like the 50s or so, if I remember, maybe 60s.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Thomas just likes to be critical. It seems like he would he would not listen to a show that he likes. We appreciate Thomas's interaction. We do. Or at least I do. I don't know if Lance does or not.
Oh, I love Thomas, yeah.
Very loyal listener. Top Democrats made their case to President Trump for restoring billions of dollars, if not trillions, in health care spending as part of any deal to avoid a government shutdown, but they said there was no breakthrough in talks, further dimming hopes of a last-minute deal. It was a frank and direct discussion, but significant and meaningful differences remain, said Hakeem Jeffries. Top Democratic and Republican congressional leaders met with Trump in the White House with little time to reach a deal, less than 36 hours. This was yesterday. Before federal funding lapses and agencies partially closed, Democrats said they were eager to start negotiations with the White House and GOP lawmakers. Republicans said they were willing to talk, but not under the threat of an imminent shutdown, leaving the two sides at an impasse. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, said Democratic leaders should get on board with the GOP's 7-week stopgap bill to keep the government funded and use that time for talks and to craft full year spending bills. A White House official said that Trump pushed for Democrats to take the GOP's 7-week proposal. Other lawmakers were pessimistic that any retreat from the political standoff was at hand, as we all think is the case. Grover Norquist talked to us yesterday about Russ Vaught, the White House budget director. We know that he has instructed agencies to draw up lists of employees to terminate if funding lapses beyond the temporary furloughs and missed paychecks typical of past shutdowns. The government will partially shut down at 12:01 tonight/tomorrow morning. Trump agreed to the meeting over the weekend after canceling an early planned sit-down, but the White House and congressional Republicans have strong political reasons not to give ground. Republicans want to pass that stopgap spending bill that will take us through November 21st before cutting any deals. Democrats are insisting on billions in health care funding before they sign on to a GOP plan. There was a small press briefing outside the White House yesterday that included Majority Leader John Thune, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, and the Vice President J.D. Vance, who had a message for Democrats.
Frustrated about the fact that this negotiation has not taken place until today, but if you look at the original thing they did with this negotiation, it was a $1.5 trillion spending package, basically saying to the American people, we want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation. We thought it was absurd. We told them it was absurd, and now they come in here saying that if you don't give us everything that we want, we're going to shut down the government. We think that's preposterous. We think it's totally unacceptable, and we think the American people are going to suffer because these guys won't do the right thing. Now, I want to make one final point here. You will hear a lot from Senate Democrats, from House Democrats about the fact that American health care policy is broken. Well, we know that American health care policy is broken. We've been trying to fix it for the 8 months that we've been in office, but every single thing that they accuse about being broken about American health care is policy that Democrats have supported for the past decade. So if they want to talk about how to fix American health care policy, let's do it. The Speaker would love to do it. The Senate Majority Leader would love to do it. Let's work on it together, but let's do it in the context of an open government that's providing essential services to the American people. That's all that we're proposing to do, and the fact that they refuse to do that shows how unreasonable their position is. I think we're headed to a shutdown because the Democrats won't do the right thing. I hope they change their mind, but we're going to see. I'll let the speaker.
That's J.D. Vance, the vice president, yesterday. There are a couple of good points in there. You hear over and over and over, healthcare broken, healthcare broken, healthcare broken. The healthcare system is largely based on the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, that Democrats were all for. Now they're saying, cuts from Trump have made it impossible. But Jane and I were talking last night. She's like, so what's going on in the world? She had been doing other things yesterday, and I was like, well, we got the government shutdown coming. She's like, what's that all about? And I said, Democrats want $1.5 trillion. And there have been like the canary in the coal mine issues where they're like, they want to do an AIDS prevention program in Guyana. The larger issue here is much of what the money that Democrats want is to fund health care for those who are here illegally, while legal Americans are, as J.D. Vance just pointed out, struggling with the cost of health care. I don't have to tell you that your insurance is more expensive than it used to be. I don't have to tell you that your bill at the pharmacy is higher than it used to be. We have a relatively healthy family. We have our own little issues, some monthly medicine that just has to happen. We're spending $300 or $400 a month at the pharmacy and really aren't sick. We're not buying cancer drugs or a lot of specialty stuff, and I don't think that makes us unique. Spending hundreds, in some cases over $1,000 a month, in some cases way more than that, on basic health insurance? But we need to set these billions aside to make sure that those who are here illegally have their health care costs covered. There's a problem with that.
Grab another cup of coffee and start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Glad to be with you on this Tuesday morning, the 30th of September, and glad to welcome our first guests this morning as well. Dr. Ben Burnett is president of William Carey University, and Dr. Italo Subbarao is dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine at William Carey as well. And gentlemen, I appreciate your time very much this morning. I have to admit, I have not spent much time at all on William Carey's campus. I've been in Hattiesburg a lot through the years, but haven't spent much time on campus at William Carey. But I have marveled over the last few years at the growth of the medical school, the pharmacy program, some of the partnerships that you've got with local businesses. It really feels like you have chosen a path of being innovative in a time that is can be very difficult in higher education. So good morning to both of you. Dr. Burnett, let's just start there.
All right. Well, good morning, Richard. And first of all, we can rectify that problem of you coming to campus now. All you've got to do is let us know, and we'd be glad to not only give you a tour, but this is a very beautiful place to do a live broadcast from. So
we'll have to work on that. That sounds good. I appreciate the invitation.
You have to work on that. Well, you talked about the time in higher education. It's a very different time in higher education, some good, some bad. But the main thing is just a lot more competitive. There are less college-age people in the country now with the demographics of the country shifting. And so everybody's a lot more competitive. So if you're going to keep excelling and going to keep breaking records or even keep your enrollment where it is, you've got to be different. And, the first way we're different is that we're a Christian university, and, what other schools can't build on. And so that's the mission, that's the foundation of who we are. But we want to make Mississippi better. I'm born and raised, never spent a day living outside the state of Mississippi. My parents, my grandparents, and so I want to make Mississippi better. And we've got so many places we can partner with the whole university. Howard Industries, a recent partnership that we signed.
Right.
We signed partnerships with school districts, community colleges, and Dr. Subbarao has done a great job of connecting the College of Osteopathic Medicine with other places as well. So, if we can make other people better and be good for the university, that's what we want to do.
Dr. Subbarao, can you take me back to the beginning and the founding of the College of Osteopathic Medicine? I feel like maybe there was a time in the world where people were like, okay, MD versus DO, why would I go that route? But there is, I guess there's some difference in maybe the teaching and the way the degree is applied, but I don't feel like anybody bats an eye about going to see a DO versus an MD at this point in time.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. We appreciate that. And, you're exactly right. We are very blessed here at William Carey. One of the things that the university leaned into was looking at the needs of Mississippi and the challenges we've got in healthcare, particularly the challenges in primary care, are that our communities, particularly in rural communities, their ability to access a physician. And so when you look at the history of the DO program and what, kind of what its emphasis is, you'll find that it's really the DO degree kind of began at the turn of the century by a Civil War physician at that time, and really looked at the anatomy, the musculoskeletal system as a window to healthcare and a window to treatment. And then as he looked forward, as the program evolved, it really is focused holistically on the human being, that you're not a disease, you're a person. You're a human being that comes in with a variety of challenges that are impacting your health. And I think we, as a program, that's what we emphasize. It's the doctor you really want. And we've come a long way. If you actually look at the population of physicians in this nation, it's about 1 million physicians or so. About 20% or so are DOs, and that's growing. It's the fastest segment that's growing. We think probably in 2035 will be around 30%. And our focus is primary care. Now, our DOs they go through 4 years of medical school, just like our MD counterparts, and then they go into residency training, just like our MD counterparts. They can specialize in any field of healthcare. So they can be a neurosurgeon or cardiovascular surgeon, and some do. But the greater percentage choose primary care. And part of that difference is that when we don't have one big hospital that we partner with. When they're on our campus for a couple of years, but then in their third and fourth year, they go out to community hospitals throughout the state of Mississippi. And those are partners that we have built out through the years. And they become part of the fabric of the community in their third and fourth year. And they get great comfort in the idea of coming back and practicing there. And I think that's, in a time when our state has certain challenges with folks perhaps leaving or brain drain, these kinds of things, we're a beacon attracting people to the state and keeping people in the state, to come and stay in these opportunities are just so amazing. And people start to see the value and the blessing they can be to their communities.
And if you don't mind, and I guess this is for either of you, wasn't there a recent kind of highest level of accreditation achievement or a new piece that's in place?
Yeah, every program has to get their accreditation, and we've been very blessed here. Our focus has been rural and underserved for many years. Our focus has been primary care. We've been recognized consistently over the last 4 or 5 years for being top 10 by U.S. News and World Report. That's comparing us against any other MD or DO program in the country. But most recently, we went through our federal accreditation, and we were given a 10-year accreditation historically, there was a term that was used as exceptional outcomes. Only about 20% of DO programs have this distinguished accreditation, and it speaks to the quality of our program, the quality of our graduates, that we're meeting our mission, and we're just very blessed. We obviously none of these things we design a program where we have folks that care about our students and care about the mission. We can't guarantee that someone's going to find us a special way, but if we do the work we're supposed to do, hey, it's a blessing. We got these great outcomes.
I'm sure that was a fast and easy and a low time commitment process to get that done, right?
We're most grateful to be on the other side of it right now, for sure.
I'm sure. Dr. Burnett, so many university leaders, public schools, private schools, and otherwise have talked about enrollment cliffs and the fact that there are funding issues as well. I feel like that's part of maybe what you've done. You mentioned the partnership with Howard Industries as well. But when you look at higher education as a whole and the piece of the puzzle that William Carey occupies, what is your maybe big picture overview right now with how William Carey fits?
Well, back to my comment of being native Mississippian, I feel like we are filling in the gaps of where Mississippi needs it the most. I mean, we have a shortage of doctors, so we're graduating 200 a year, most in the state. We have a shortage of nurses in Mississippi, and our nursing enrollment this year was just under 1,100 nursing majors. So just think about that number of graduates in a couple of years filling out the massive nursing shortage. And I think you remember I'm a retired school superintendent, and so I know firsthand about the teacher shortage. And over the last 5 or 6 years, we've graduated on average over 500 educators a year, both at the graduate and undergraduate level. And so all of those just filling in the cracks of where Mississippi needs it the most. So it's not about trying to break an enrollment record, which we did this year, but it's about attracting where people can go and help the state. You know, there's so much discussion, and I've heard some even on your show because, you know, I'm a everyday listener in the morning.
Thank you for that.
About degrees that don't really mean anything or degrees that don't get you to the next step. And so we want our students to be able to be employed when they get out of school, but we want them to be employed in doing something that matters and that helps the state. In addition to those three, you know, our School of Religion, being a Christian school, we want to fill the vacancies in churches across Mississippi as well. And we've doubled the number of our religion majors since 2022. So we don't feel like we're where we want to be, but we feel like we're moving where we want to be.
We're going to continue the conversation about what's happening at William Carey University with Dr. Ben Burnett, president of the university, and Dr. Italo Subbarao, who is dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine. You're listening to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're back with you right after this.
Oh my, Bayou country, smell of mad lonely, bring it to your knees. Fade dog, dog, and Cajun women, Spanish Moss hanging from a big.
From the Seabrook.
This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Take a deep dive into the news and debates driving the day, all on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Glad to be with you on this Tuesday morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Dr. Ben Burnett, president of William Carey University, and Dr. Italo Subbarao, who is dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine, are my guests. And I'd love to go a couple of different directions here. Dr. Subbarao, if we could start with going back to this summer, the dedication of the Institute of Primary Care, a beautiful facility on campus there in Hattiesburg. What was the significance of this particular facility?
Yes, this facility, named after Charles Pickering, a prominent board member and judge here locally. This was a vision probably over the last 4 years to address the primary care issues that the state has. There's a role for the private sector here, to adapt to, the challenges of our country, the challenges that we face. And when COVID was hitting, we recognized that some of those deficits in those communities, particularly rural communities, were significant. And we knew that, we needed to be part of the solution. And part of that solution is graduating more physicians, educating more residents, and educating community physicians. And particularly around the areas of primary care, the topics that we really need to converse about here in Mississippi, talking about diabetes, hypertension, all the chronic diseases that we face. And so we had this vision that we could have this innovative educational space by which we would focus on the primary care issues of Mississippi, that it would be almost a beacon and maybe think of it as a manufacturing facility of physicians, and as well as set the table to bring in our hospitals, our insurance partners, our pharmaceutical partners, those that are involved in bettering the health of our communities and truly transforming healthcare, and having those necessary conversations where we can come up with practical solutions. And that's our hope. That's our prayer. We've just got into this space. It's a 3-story building. It's, if you look at everything that's kind of coming together, I think it's an estimate of close to, this 3-story building is about 55,000 square feet. We have another building coming on board as well, 2-story, but in total probably be about 70,000 to 80,000 square feet. And there's a number of spaces we are now retrofitting and transitioning from. So, probably 100,000 square feet of new space, and it's going to be innovative. It's going to have all the latest tools that we need for our students, for our faculty, for our physicians in practice and our residency programs. And I think it'll be a place where meaningful conversations are going to happen. We're kind of kicking things off on November 7th and 8th in terms of a big program we're going to do on cardiovascular care. We're pairing it with we're hosting the Heart Walk in our community. We'll have about 500, 600 individuals coming out for the Heart Walk. And we'll do a continuing medical education that evening. We'll talk about things like artificial intelligence and its impact on healthcare. We'll talk about some of the newer methods of treatment, particularly you hear of Ozempic and these kinds of drugs, the good and the bad of some of those things. We'll be talking a bit about the new hypertensive guidelines that are coming out. So a number of things that are cardiovascular related that we'll have these conversations, and they'll be open to physicians and residents, of course, our students in the community.
I should know the answer to this, but I'm questioning myself. So if somebody goes through the DO program and chooses to be a primary care physician, what is the timeline beginning to end on that program?
So it takes 4 years to get your DO degree. Right. So there's a 4-year program. Just, we take the same courses that an MD takes and go through the same clinical rotations that a MD takes. The only difference, as I mentioned before, is we do have a more holistic emphasis on the way we look at the patient, as well as the musculoskeletal system. We spend a little extra time there in terms of learning techniques that we can use we can essentially use our hands and do techniques sort of akin to like physical therapy that can really improve somebody's health at the bedside. But when they graduate from our program, they have to go into residency, and most primary care residencies are about 3 years long. And so I would say, generally speaking, it's about 7 years from beginning of medical school to the end that you become family doctor, a pediatrician, those kinds of specialties, internal medicine, those kinds of specialties will take about 7 years.
Well, and
then
I
maybe
that.
specialized.
No, I was just going to say I asked that because I remember my wife was far smarter than I was and pretty heavily considered medical school, but that 12 years that you hear about so often where it's medical school and then it's a residency and then it's a fellowship and maybe there's specialization on the backside of that, it just feels like a really daunting time frame. When you start talking 7, possibly 8 years before you're actually in the workforce, that feels like it's probably a little less daunting and maybe a little more manageable for some students.
Yeah, and I will say that's what this institute is about. We are looking for even ways that we can look at this even within a shorter time frame. And I'm not, I don't want to, speculate on that just yet, but the reality of how can we accelerate this because the need is so great. And it won't be just dependent upon us. It'll be dependent upon us and a partner hospitals in order to achieve that end. But the reality, I think, for us is that if you look at Mississippi and the needs of Mississippi, a family doctor can do a lot. A family doctor can make a transformational difference in a rural community.
Absolutely.
And, family doctor can see children. A family doctor can deliver babies. There are things that a family doctor can do. And the quality of life in Mississippi and the way a physician is looked at in this great state. There are great advantages in this state to go into primary care. And I think it for us, the students and the folks that we draw in there, once they get into their 3rd and 4th year and they work with the physicians and they become part of the fabric of the community, it's easy to see how they could stay in practice there.
Dr. Burnett, I want to go back to the something that you mentioned earlier. You talked about the partnership with Howard Industries. We certainly mentioned that when it happened, and it's such a fascinating way to approach where you have students that are prepared specifically to go to work for a company in your region of the state, but at the same time, they're not locked in necessarily to going to that company. Are we going to see more of this, whether it's at William Carey or at other places that perhaps go with the imitation as the sincerest form of flattery and say, hey, we're gonna start doing some things like this for companies and regions of our states, even if it's outside of Mississippi?
Yeah, we certainly hope so, because number one, we want to attach our students, for lack of a better word, of a future employment. I mentioned the areas a while ago about the ways we're preparing students from Mississippi. In education, our student teach at schools, and a lot of times they end up there. And of course, with residency, sometimes our DO graduates end up in those hospitals. Our pharmacy program, I didn't mention that earlier. On our Biloxi campus, we have an accelerated school of pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times when they do their rotations in those places, they will end up there. So to give students an idea of where they can go and to connect them, I think we all are going to need to do that. So, whatever we're doing that's right, we do hope people will pick up on it. And we certainly watch other schools to make sure we're doing everything that we can, because, if Mississippi is going to move forward, Richard, it's got to be with education, starting in kindergarten all the way through the end of medical school. So we want to do all that we can.
Well, you mentioned a record enrollment. What were those numbers this year?
Well, pretty staggering for us. And looking over the last 3 years since 2022, we've concentrated on our undergraduate program because most of our growth at William Carey had been in the graduate schools and in the medical school. So we really started going after first-time freshmen in our undergraduate population. And our first-time freshmen have grown by 80% since 2022.
Oh, wow.
So our enrollment this fall, including our dual enrollment students, a little bit over 6,000, which we've never been close to that before. Without our dual enrollment students, we're at a little over 5,000, 5,100. And our total undergraduate population has risen by 40% in the last 3 years. So we feel like we're growing from the bottom up now instead of just at the top.
Well, it certainly feels like there's a
population. We've grown by 50% in our residential population on the Hattiesburg campus in 3 years, too.
Well, so many good things happening at William Carey, and we appreciate both of you sharing some of those this morning. Doctors Ben Burnett and Italo Subbarao, thank you so much for your time, and let's do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it.
Hope to see you on campus sometime soon, Richard.
I look forward to it. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Good things happening at William Carey University in Hattiesburg. We're back with you right after this.
From Duck Hill to Alligator, Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
That's the way you spell Chicago. A knife and a fork, well, and a plate of green. That's the way you spell, New Orleans. Girl over there with the hot pants on. Turn her loose, let her turn me on. Me and that woman, Lord, go hand in hand. Like a bow-legged woman and a knock-kneed man.
Really appreciate the time from Dr. Ben Burnett, president at William Carey University. Boy, quick to point out, lifelong Mississippian and a lifelong educator as well, as a former superintendent and now as the leader of that university where so many good things are coming on. And with Dr. Italo Subbarao, you can hear when someone is genuinely passionate about the work that they do and about the mission of their work. You can also sometimes tell when somebody is saying things because it's what they're supposed to say. And it's very clear that Dr. Subbarao, as he talks about the mission of William Carey, the mission of the College of Osteopathic Medicine, the mission of producing healthcare professionals from Mississippi, that's not fake. That's real. That's where his focus is. That's where his passion is. And I just really appreciate both of them spending some time with us this morning. The growth numbers that they were talking about, really incredible. And I think it's a reminder as we hear about challenges in higher education, enrollment cliffs, costs, etc. It is a reminder that there is value there if you are looking for it. And I tend to push back a little bit when people talk about, a degree in this subject area is worthless. Because it's your money, right? I mean, if you want a bachelor's degree in 15th century European history and you're paying for it, knock yourself out. Or, philosophy or whatever else. And I mean, I hesitate to throw random majors out there because, maybe that's what's good for you. You just got to go in with eyes wide open as to what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe there's an endless supply of money and it doesn't matter what your degree is in. You just want a degree. Maybe you're genuinely passionate about those areas and you have a plan on the backside of that degree of what you're going to be able to do and what your life is going to look like. But you got to go into that with eyes wide open. And I do like, less so with what we were talking about with William Carey, they have developed some partnerships that make sense for them and help from a funding standpoint and help keep tuition where they're going and all of those things. But I do like that there is a focus with our public universities in Mississippi to say that, hey, we're going to provide a bunch of degree programs. And you're welcome to get a degree in whatever you want to get. But we're also going to provide some incentive for you to go and get a degree in a high-need field, a growth industry, so that you are employable and you're laying yourself or setting yourself up for the opportunity to grow within your career, to support a family, to contribute to the state of Mississippi, or wherever you go. C-Spire text line. The key is who is paying for the degree. Yeah. It's absolutely key. I mean, if you're paying for it yourself, go get whatever you want to get. If your parents are paying for it and they're cool with it, go do whatever you want to do. But if you're borrowing a bunch of money, through student loans or family or whatever else it is, make sure you got a plan. Make sure you got a plan. Boone in Greenwood says, go get a DD 214 from the United States military. It's better than any master's or bachelor's degree. Everyone should sacrifice an experience serving their country, something a college will never teach you or an ROTC program can teach. Yeah, if that's your thing, right? If that's what you believe in and that's what you're passionate about then go for it. But it shouldn't be mandatory. You have to choose. I will tell you, as somebody who's done it, Lance, I don't know if you had to do this or not, but payments on student loan debt are the hardest payments I have ever had to make for anything.
Yeah, they can go on forever and ever, too, it seems.
They can go on forever and ever.
I want to hear what our next guest studied to be a famous actor and comedian.
You think Jamie Lissow's got a degree in European philosophy?
Yeah, I'm hoping he does, Welsh history.
Comedian Jamie Lissow will join us next. Perhaps you have seen him on Gutfeld on Fox, or I don't know, maybe you've caught one of his comedy shows. You're going to have a chance to do that in Hattiesburg this weekend. Look forward to that visit coming up next. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Your morning, Mississippi. You're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Glad to be with you on this Tuesday morning, the last day of the month of September 2025. Probably on the eve of a government shutdown. We'll see what that looks like. Glad to be with you. It is Super Talk Mississippi. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we appreciate you joining us. You can be part of the conversation on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Give your business the edge with gigabit fiber internet from C-Spire Business. Backed by world-class IT professionals who live where you do. That is right here in Mississippi. Check them out online at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. Happy to have our next guest this morning. Jamie Lissow is a comedian. Perhaps you know him from Gutfeld on Fox News in the evenings. Perhaps you have seen him on a comedy tour. Perhaps you are going to see him this coming Saturday, October 4th in Hattiesburg at the historic Saenger Theater for a show that he's got coming up there. Regardless, Jamie, good morning, man. I appreciate some of your time.
Good morning, Richard. My pleasure, man. Good to talk to you.
You as well. I admitted to Lance earlier this morning, we were talking about that I think comedians are harder to interview than anybody else. If it's a serious topic, we can go down the road. It's like, but I feel like when I'm talking to a comedian, I never know how to couch it. Like, am I supposed to be teeing you up to tell jokes? Am I supposed to get out of the way and let you do a set? Are we supposed to talk about process? So I don't know where this goes, but I do appreciate your time.
Dude, my pleasure. I don't know if I'm your typical comedian interview. I feel like, I enjoyed very much. I was actually watching your show while I was waiting. And I was enjoying it so much, I literally forgot you were interviewing me. I thought I was just watching your show. I was like, this is great. And you were talking about useless degrees. And I will say I have a math degree, which I have never once used, a bachelor's in mathematics. The only advantage of a math degree is, though, because I'm good at math, I know exactly how much money I wasted.
Which is not always a good thing.
The one formula I do remember from math that still applies to this day, though, I will say the one thing that is definitely accurate. Do you remember it's let me think of it. It's if you add 1x, you lose half of your belongings. It's my ex-wife. It's
my wife and I were talking not too long ago. It was like a budgeting conversation, and I was like, we got to do one of two things. We've either got to spend less money or make more money, and one of those two seems like it's probably not going to happen. So we got to come up with a new revenue stream or two or three and figure out how to make this work. Hey, what's it like in the studio with Gutfeld and that crew that kind of rotates through there on a nightly basis? It appears that you guys are having a good time.
Absolutely having in my career, like live stand-up shows and some acting and stuff. And Gutfeld is by far the most fun that I have. And I think my favorite part of it is when you're a comedian, you write a new hour every year. You know, like that's what you're supposed to do. Like it sort of kind of follows with your life, whatever's going on. Like I just got married, so a lot of my jokes are about just getting married. You know, and then you do that. You hone this material for a year. Gutfeld, I'm on Gutfeld tonight. I am writing jokes right now that I will do in front of 3 million people that I have never tried before. And so for me, it's like this exciting, almost like a tightrope walk. When I leave that Gutfeld studio and it went pretty good, I'm like, whew. I mean, it's like an exciting thing to be doing new material and not, you know, and those guys, man, everybody on that show, everybody, especially Gutfeld, Kat Tyrus, 99% of the guests, like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Like nobody's pretending, nobody's doing a character. These are like really good people. And what you're seeing on TV is exactly what it's like when we go off the air. Roseanne was just on like 6 months ago. And if you're watching at home, you can actually hear her talking into commercial break. And when we go back on the air, because she couldn't tell when we were on and when we were off, because it's no different.
You know, the thing with Greg is, he tries a lot of material, and he is fully willing to own it when a joke falls flat. And there are a lot of his that fall flat. But, I mean, then you might get one that falls flat and another one that falls flat, and then he just throws a haymaker that you didn't see coming. And it's like, okay, it's good. We'll stick with him for a little.
Yes.
He seems like a pretty smart guy, which I think is a pretty common trait with comedians, although I'm not sure that's where people would immediately associate it.
I think you're right. I think a lot of comedians are very, very smart, which is why I think that's what sets me apart, that I'm not like that. You know? Yeah, there's some smart guys, but there's a lot of I went to law school. There's a lot of ex-lawyers, ex-doctors. I feel like there's, of course, some that are just goofy, but I feel like part of the, the joke writing process is almost mathematical. It is almost a formula, and it's not just the show at night. It's sort of figuring out what are people actually going to be interested in? What sets me apart from every single white guy that looks just like me that has the same story? What is it that sets me apart? And I feel like that's really important. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of smart guys on that Gutfeld show. For anybody that watches me on there, a lot of times if you watch me very closely when I am on the show, when someone else is talking, a lot of times I don't know what they're talking about. Just sort of play along and try to survive. It's a lot of smart, because I'm just a comedian. These guys are, Greg was an editor before he went on Gutfeld. He was the editor of Men's Fitness and, an accomplished writer. He's got 7 bestsellers. You got Tyrus with all these New York Times bestsellers. We got people in presidential administrations, and somehow I'm sitting there with them,
You talked about writing jokes for tonight. How much of it is pre-planned versus just reactionary, off the cuff, on the fly, we're going to let it fly?
That's a great question. I actually learned something about myself. Tonight will be my 150th appearance on the show. And
really?
Every time I'm on, I sort of learn something new. And something I've learned about 2 months ago is I'm a preparer. We get the topics at about 11 a.m. We film at about 6. I write for 7 hours, and I even have like 2 comedians that I call and I try my jokes. I take it like very, very seriously, and I try to have, we do 5 topics. I try to have 6 jokes per topic because other people on the show will do the same joke you were going to do. There's only so many places to go with these things. And I'm just recently realizing that if I look at the comments online or like the laughter in there, I'm noticing that all the jokes I ad-lib or make up get way bigger laughs than the jokes I've been writing for 7 hours all day. And so something I learned recently was like, I should write a few jokes, but I have to trust. People love that in the moment joke and that ad lib. And there's nothing for me personally more exciting than an ad lib joke on TV. Not only that you didn't write that morning, but that you thought of just then and getting a laugh. There's something that's also what's cool about a live comedy show. Like we all have our acts, but every show that I do, none of my shows are the same because there's always like a little bit of crowd interaction. And I do that because I think people like it. They like it to be, you know, if I saw him in Birmingham and I see him in Tuscaloosa or Hattiesburg, like, is it just going to be this guy saying the same thing? I think it's important that it's not. I think it's important that, like, these people got a babysitter. They came out to the show. I want to make sure this is a unique experience that if you weren't here at the Saenger Theater in Hattiesburg, like, you missed this show.
Yeah.
You got to catch, like, this is a unique experience.
Please tell me that Kamala-Kazi was off the cuff, not something that was written in advance.
I'm so glad you brought that up. This is going to sound crazy, but I told my friend after the show, I go, I don't even know who wrote that joke. My brain wrote it. Like, I remember saying it and thinking, is this even does this even make sense? It was one of those things where my mind was ahead of my voice. When I said that one, I was like, I hope this is funny. And then what about the dude next to me said, because Greg said, you know, for context, he said, Kamala should have her own drink. And I said, Kamala-Kazi. And the guy next to me goes, Mike Benz, hilarious guy. And he goes, white Russian collusion. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, but when you said Kamala-Kazi and it was so fast, Gutfield kind of turned over. He's like, that's good. That's because it hit right. And then everybody else had a second to process it. And they threw a couple of others out there. Jamie Lissow is my guest, actor, comedian, regular. 150th appearance tonight on Gutfeld. On Fox News, and the Saenger Theater in the historic. Some buildings just have to have that in the front of the name. The historic Saenger Theater in Hattiesburg. We're going to continue the visit in just a second. Quick, what are people going to get from you on Saturday night in Hattiesburg?
So I like to say it's a stand-up comedy show over any sort of. I'm not going to be spouting any political view. Like, I know we're on Fox News, and I think a lot of the crowd probably leans to one side. That said, like, I have – I think I saw the seating map, and only the right is sold out. The left is completely empty. But I feel like the something that is important is I have people come to my shows all the time. I have people that in my life that I love, friends and family. I feel like politics is over here. And not to be corny, but I feel like love, friendship, and family is over here. Yep. And so I think we can disagree about politics and still be friends and enjoy each other's company. And so my show, no one's going to get ostracized or punished. It won't be an echo chamber where we turn it into, you know, we're right and they're wrong. It's a night of comedy. I've been doing comedy. I did the Tonight Show in 2001. I've been doing comedy a lot more. A lot longer than I've been doing politics.
Hold that thought. Let's pick it up on the other side. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the event.
Want to know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We may be cutting into his writing time, but Jamie Lissow is hanging out with us for a little while this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. His Better Off Dad comedy tour, which is his first North American tour, rolls on this weekend and includes a stop at the Saenger Theater in Hattiesburg this Saturday night. Jamie told us ticket sales reportedly are going well for that event, so hope you can make your plans to be there. So, Jamie, in addition to hosting this radio show, I'm a sports broadcaster as well, and I do play-by-play for football, basketball, baseball games. And some nights you can walk into a building, walk into an arena, walk into a stadium, and it feels big. and it feels like, all right, this has got a chance to be special. Like there's just a vibe in the building long before kickoff, long before tip-off, first pitch. Do you ever get that walking into a venue when you get a show? Do you walk in some nights and be like, this got a chance to be a banger?
100%. That's a great observation. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I can usually I get a vibe when I walk into a theater. I also can usually tell within 1 minute of being on stage, like, oh, here we go. Like sometimes it takes that minute getting on stage, and it's not only the crowd. Sometimes it's also the venue. Like it's the sound and how the laughs sound. But yeah, within 1 minute, I remember I was in Oklahoma City recently, and like within a minute I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. Like it was the opposite where I go like, oh boy, I don't know if you've had that experience with the broadcasting, but I can also kind of tell when like, all right, this is going to take a little bit of work. Okay. But yeah, to absolutely know what you mean.
Are you candid with the audience about that? Like, I mean, if you're a minute into this and it feels like it's going to be a tough crowd, you're like, whew, you guys are tough tonight. Or do you just roll?
I at first I do whatever I can to bring it to make it a really good show. But I will if we're a half hour in and we're still struggling a little bit, I will absolutely. You know, you got to ask him. You got to say, "What's the drink special? Warm milk? Like, what is going on right now?" You got to ask him a couple questions. Can I compliment you right now on your you were saying at the beginning you don't know how to interview comedians. I think you're doing a great job. I like having just a conversation, which this is great. Some shows you go on and they actually say to you, "Hey, tell me what jokes do you want to do?" And you go, "All right." So you write down these words, and then then the whole interview is like insane. Like they go, "Hey, so you run into any magicians lately?" And you're like, yeah, like it's just like this contrived, like doing jokes. So I much prefer this. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate you saying that. Had a young female comedian on a couple of weeks ago, and she shocked me. She's actually from the Hattiesburg area, and she was talking about her process and mentioned the fact that she said, I'm completely sober, have been for a while, and she's like, that's a tough circuit. She's like, you're doing a show and you feel like you did a great set and you're ready to go have some drinks, or you feel like it bombed and you feel like you need to go have some drinks. And, you know, she's like, it was just this cycle. And she said, which is interesting to me because you said something similar, she takes the writing process very, very seriously. She writes the jokes. Mm-hmm. She reads them into her recorder. She goes back and listens to them. She's got this spreadsheet built of stuff that went well and stuff that didn't went well. Is that common? Because that struck me as like, really, I just kind of thought you got up there and let it fly sometimes, which maybe occasionally you do. But there was very much a scripted process for her to get to the point where she's on stage, she's got her material memorized, and she's ready to deliver. What does the process look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's very common in successful comedians. I have been both. I have been very unsuccessful. It took me a long time to even start selling tickets. Like this job is a struggle, and I'm actually very grateful to have it happen this way. Same as whoever you interviewed. I quit drinking 9 years ago, and it's funny to take it even broader. I'm not a good drinker. I know some people can have one or two. I was never like that, but I feel like you can always find a reason to drink, right? The set went bad. I need a drink. The set went good. I need a drink, which is sort of like a microcosm of your whole life, right? We can always find a reason to be upset and console ourselves, to be excited. I got to keep this going. And I think it's funny. I attribute it to almost right when I quit drinking was when I started taking it very seriously. And what I think is funny, some crowds, like, they want the comedian to drink. I've been in venues. I'm thinking of one in particular. In Anchorage, Alaska, the club is like a bar. Like, it's like this party atmosphere. And I was on stage, and there was a waiter in the front row. Like, it looked like he was about to serve drinks to the front table. He had like a whole thing of drinks, but he kept staying there. So I'm kind of looking at him, and two minutes go by, and I go, "Hey, is everything okay? Like, do you need it?" And he goes, "All of these are for you. People bought these for you."
No.
From the crowd. They're sending, and I didn't drink at the time, so I had to do an awkward, like, sorry. But I think that's interesting that people send drinks to comedians because it's like they're going, "Hey, we love what you're doing. Here's something that's going to make it harder. Drink this and continue." It would be like if you're watching like a guitar player you loved and you're like, "Hey, hit your finger with this hammer." You're like, I feel like it doesn't help, but I have been in that cycle where it's just about the show, and you just do the show, and it's fine, and you drink, and then you wake up the next day at 1 p.m. and you do another show. And that's one life, and that's okay. You can survive. But the life I have now, I mean, my wife's a doctor, and I would say we work we take our jobs as seriously.
Wow.
We both take our jobs very seriously. Like the on stage part is the easy part. It's the reward from all the preparation. But I think to do it right, I think that girl's got a very bright future, is what I'm saying. Because I noticed that all my friends that have become successful, I'll be honest with you, I've never made a spreadsheet in any capacity, but I do write a lot and I do organize a lot. And I think that's a big part of taking it seriously.
My spreadsheets are super basic. Like, no formulas. The people that can work wizardry with spreadsheets.
Yeah,
can't do that. But I can get columns and rows and resize them. That's about as far as I can go in that. Jamie Lissow, my guest, comedian. We've got him just a couple of more minutes on SuperTalk Mississippi. The Better Off Dad comedy tour. So, have you seen any magicians lately?
It's funny you mentioned that.
What's the?
I used to have this joke about magicians.
Give me the theme. This Better Off Dad tour. I'm not saying child the jokes out on us, but kind of walk us through at least some of what the material looks like.
So I'm going to tell you my magician joke. That is not even part of my set. Just to give closure to anybody that wonders. I used to say, this is an older joke of mine, but I used to say, this one time I hurt my finger, and I went to the emergency room. And the doctor goes, "Man, that's a really bad injury, but it could be worse. Like, you could be a magician." And I go, "What do you mean? Because I wouldn't be able to hold my tricks and stuff?" And he goes, "No, man, it would just suck to be a magician, wouldn't it?" That was one of my older, but I do a lot of, I just got married, so I'm talking a lot about just getting married. And so I do a lot of family stuff, I do a lot of kids stuff and, about the kids growing out. Do you have kids? Richard,
do.
You got kids?
Got three of them, a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old.
Oh, dang, man, that's pretty good. I'm a 10, 14, and 16. It's a cliche, but does it not go by so fast? Like, my son is 16 years old. I can't even believe, he dropped me off at the airport the other day. It was a coincidence. He drives for Uber, and I happened to get him. But it is so crazy.
Pull the app up.
How quickly it goes by.
A Kia. Oh, that's not my favorite. Oh, that's my son. Great. That's good. Is anything off limits for you?
I try not to. I've made the mistake of saying things that are a little too polarizing, usually political, because I'm sort of passionate about something. And I've kind of learned that the place for that might be Gutfeld instead of on stage. So I've tried to keep the stage show a little bit lighter, because when you tell it, telling jokes is hard enough, but if you tell a joke that's about a very sensitive subject that people have feelings about in their body, like if it's a sad subject, they're going to be sad when you mention it. And now you have to make them laugh, but you just made them sad or upset or worried. And so I don't feel like other comics maybe can do it better than me. I don't think anything's off the table for everybody, but for me, I do have a little bit of trouble if I talk about something too serious. I do sense you kind of upset people, and then you have to then it starts here. If, you're taking them down to sadness, now you have to go all the way up to laughter. And so I feel like for me, I do stay away from stuff that people might have a connection to that might upset them or might make them sad. And maybe that makes me a wuss, but I just want everybody to have a good time. I really do. I know they got babysitters and they paid good money, and I want every single person to leave and feel like we had at least a 1 hour break from just all of the madness and I was looking at the news before I came on. I'm like, wow, it just never ends, man. There's just there's always something to be worried about.
It's pretty good if you're doing a political show or a radio show that's focused on news and politics.
Yeah, I'll bet.
A bit of a content machine these days. Jamie Lissow, the Better Off Dad comedy tour, making a stop in Hattiesburg at the Saenger Theater this Saturday night, the 4th of October. You can still get tickets for that. Hey, really appreciate your time. This was fun, and maybe we can catch up down the line.
Back at you, Richard. Enjoyed it very much. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
You
See you in Hattiesburg.
That'll be great. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Timeout. Half an hour left with you as we roll toward 9 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone, or God's Time Zone. We're back right after this.
From the Seabrook. Inside track on Mississippi politics. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey lady, got the love I need. Maybe more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much, so much.
That was fun with Jamie Lissow, talented guy. You can catch him on Gutfeld tonight on Fox News, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, just go to the channel guide. You can figure it out or grab it online. Appreciate you being with us this morning. Heavy, kind of middle of the show with guests with Drs. Ben Burnett and Italo Subbarao from William Carey University, and then Jamie Lissow, the comedian and actor, and just interesting stuff with him. Very, very good. You can join the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. There was an interesting story that came out yesterday. If you don't really even have to be paying attention. You know who Paul Feinbaum is, the former newspaper columnist in Birmingham turned longtime radio host of the Paul Feinbaum Show, first syndicated, and now it's on the SEC Network, and he's, I say analyst, more like a commentator for college football and on the SEC Network and all of those things. But perhaps Paul Feinbaum going to be leaving ESPN behind. There is a reason that I am mentioning this morning. Clay Travis sat down with Feinbaum for an interview this past weekend in Athens. That's where SEC Network was for their pregame show. Take a listen to this.
There's an open Senate seat. Bruce Pearl, also at Auburn, had talked about it. He says now he's not going to run. Is that with the conversation? Are you somewhat interested and intrigued at the opportunity of looking into that Senate race? I'm assuming that's what they reached out to you to talk to you about.
Yes. I was very cautious. I didn't take it too seriously. And then ultimately I ended up talking to someone who made it clear that there was a desire for me to be involved. And this person, obviously, that shall remain nameless, was compelling and compassionate in the approach to me. And I started thinking about it.
This is a person.
Paul Feinbaum thinking seriously about running for what is soon to be a vacant Senate seat in the state of Alabama. And then Clay Travis actually pushed him a little farther, probably pushed Paul to a place he didn't necessarily want to go. When he asked him about his politics, and Feinbaum recognized or admitted that he was a registered Republican in the state of North Carolina. He's lived in Charlotte for a long time. He's in the process of moving back to the state of Alabama, where he lived for so very long, and is he admitted that he voted multiple times for Donald Trump. And Clay kind of pushed him on that about ESPN. And then he specifically asked him, what if the president asked you to run for this Senate seat?
If the president of the United States says, Paul, you're my guy, can you tell him no?
Impossible to tell him no. There's no way I could. I would say yes.
There you go. If Donald Trump says to Paul Feinbaum, you need to run for that Senate seat, then Paul Feinbaum says he's going to run for that Senate seat. So how does that strike you? We talked about this briefly yesterday afternoon on Sports Talk, just very into the show. And Borky kind of had why can't we get serious people to do this? I actually countered that Paul Feinbaum is a very smart guy, a very bright guy. You can like what he does, like his shtick or not. He's figured out a way to make an incredible career out of being a troll of everybody. He is one of the most gifted interviewers that I've ever heard. He has the ability to kind of dig deep with questions and kind of it's not all shucks, but it's not a polished delivery.
No, it's almost like he has like a screwdriver. Sometimes he's kind of sticking in your side, but he does it so almost unassuming. You know, he has a way about him that is very unique to me. I don't always like his show or the way he goes about.
Yeah.
You know, but he is like you said, his ability to interview is second to none. And he's one of these guys that is absolutely fearless when it comes to asking questions.
That's right. There's part of me that's like, great, another person parlaying their celebrity into public office. Obviously, the President of the United States did that, right? I mean, Donald Trump started out with massive name ID. But you don't become President of the United States just because you've got name ID. You got examples all over the place. You've got Tom Osborne, the former Nebraska football coach, who went on to become a United States Senator. Former Tennessee quarterback Heath Shuler became a senator from Virginia. Obviously, Tommy Tuberville, football coach turned senator, soon to be governor of the state of Alabama. Arnold Schwarzenegger, pretty darn good governor in the state of California. A lot of common sense, a lot of level-headedness. And so this is not new. And goodness gracious, maybe the most difficult thing. So when you ask the question, why can't we get serious people in?
Politics has always been
the problem, Lance, the problems with sometimes not getting serious, bright people in are twofold. One, they're really, really successful and they don't want to leave behind what they're doing. Or two, nobody knows who they are, and that makes it almost a non-starter because it takes so much money and so much time to build up household name ID.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I mean, you know, with Paul and others, they have built up already a reputation. People trust them. You could have a genius out there that has no ability to communicate. But I find people like Tuberville and a lot of the coaches that have gone that route, Paul being in the broadcasting world, they're serious people. I mean, I don't worry about their ability to be serious. I mean, they've made a fortune doing a great job in the profession they're in. Isn't that what politics is supposed to be? You go out and do something good. You make some money, you pay your taxes, you do the things the right way, you create a brand, and then you have an opportunity to potentially serve the people in a way that maybe is best. Instead of, like you said, going out and blowing $1 billion in 107 days to try to appease everybody.
And I would actually argue, somebody pointed out Ronald Reagan. Yeah, that's a pretty fantastic example as well. I would argue, and this is not all the time, right? I mean, our governor, Tate Reeves, who's done a really good job. Like by almost every measurable metric in terms of accomplishments, Tate Reeves has done a good job, and I think when his tenure is all said and done and we allow for some time to pass, there's going to be a pretty compelling argument that Tate Reeves is the best governor that the state of Mississippi has ever had. But Tate Reeves is a career politician. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but that was his path, right? I mean, it was state treasurer for 8 years, and then he rolls into the lieutenant governor seat for 8 years, and now he's finishing 8 years as governor of the state of Mississippi. It's going to be 24 years inside the political world in Mississippi. The argument that I was going to say I would make, I think there is something that is very refreshing kind of the point that you were making, Lance. And that is, you go and you do your life, and you build a career, and you build your family, and you raise your kids, and you have whatever level of success you're able to have, and then you get to say, you know what, I'm ready to take 30 years of life experience and work experience, business experience, career experience, and I'm going to take that common sense approach that I've used in my life and my work to an elected office, whether it's at the state level or the federal level. There's an argument to be made that is a far better perspective to take to Washington, D.C. than career politician. Amanda mentioned Tommy Tuberville. She said, do you say he's not a serious candidate? No, absolutely he's serious.
Yeah, what you were saying was that questions will arise. Why can't we get serious people? Well,
yeah.
That's I don't think you were referring to Tom, as not serious.
Tom.
Good old Tom
Tubbs.
Tom
Tuberville.
Good old Tommy Tubbs. I'm with you, though. I find it refreshing to see different walks of life coming into politics, whether career or a career elsewhere, and bringing the best that they have there. That's really what you want. Come serve the people. Serve your country. Whatever you bring, just bring the good stuff,
I mean, this governor's race that we're still 2.5 years away from is going to be a litmus test on this, right? Because likely one of your candidates is the most successful business person in the history of the state of Mississippi. And people are like, well, why does he want to be governor? Is that even a good question? The question is, somebody that's been that successful in business as the leader of the state of Mississippi? That might make a lot of sense.
From Mississippi in the know, one morning at a time. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Tomorrow on Mornings with Richard Cross, we are confirmed to visit with the Secretary of Agriculture and Commerce, Andy Gibson, on the eve of the start of the state fair. Also, Congressman Mike Ezell will join us in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow morning. We look forward to that. Are we finally, possibly, actually going to get to the end of this war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza? We'll answer that question in just a second. We need to give something away. Middays with Gerard Gibbert and Sports Talk with Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi, easy for me to say. We'll be live at the Sanderson Farms Championship in Jackson at CCJ on Thursday. You can get tickets for the event online at SandersonFarmsChampionship.com. But right now, we want to give you a chance to win. Your chance to win a free pair of tickets to see Mississippi's only PGA Tour event. Let's see. Par fives are fun. Par fives are even more fun when you birdie them. So let's go with 4. Be the fourth person to text the words Sanderson Farms to the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. That's for you to win a pair of tickets. Get your tickets today at SandersonFarms.com. Click on tickets, support charities, including Children's of Mississippi. But this is your chance to win. Fourth person to text Sanderson Farms to 601-879-4395 wins a pair of tickets to the Sanderson Farms Championship. Got it?
Got it.
We got it.
Yeah.
That was fast. Outstanding. Outstanding. Middays with Gerard Gibbert today will be at Cadence Bank Arena in Tupelo. Be there tomorrow as well for the Digital Innovation Conference. Discover the latest in AI, cybersecurity, and how Mississippi's workforce is being transformed. That's middays today and tomorrow with Gerard Gibbert. I also would like to remind you that the first hour of the show this morning was brought to you by Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services in Hattiesburg. Their phone number, 1-888-574-HOPE. Visit pinegrovetreatment.com. Again, the 6 o'clock hour this morning was brought to you by Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Online, pinegrovetreatment.com. Or for more information, give them a call at 1-888-574-HOPE. That's 1-888-574-4673.
I was laughing with you before we went on air about Trump is talking to the generals, obviously, and they're all cracking up. He's talking about the auto pen, and he said, he's talking about it. He goes, I sign it. I actually love my signature. I really do. I sign it very proudly. How can you have an auto pen sign this? It's so disrespectful. Almost everything Biden did was signed by auto pen, except when he gave his son Hunter a pardon, and that's actually the worst signature I've ever seen. When I have a general I sign, we have beautiful paper. I said, throw a little more gold on it. They deserve it. I want the A paper, not the D paper.
Our paper is the greatest in the world.
We used to sign
We should put a gold rim on it.
He's got gold on it. He goes,
have a border around the edge, that beautiful presidential seal.
The big, beautiful, firm paper is what he wants. I love it, man. I mean, no little detail. And these things matter. The reason I mention that is, these are historic documents. These are signatures and things that you're putting in front of leaders. And he's like, man, I don't want that typewriter paper. Bring me some good stuff. I don't blame him, man.
There you go. Is the war in Gaza finally going to come to an end? We may have to come back to this tomorrow. There's just so much here. But Trump and the administration yesterday laid out a 20-point plan that the United States and Israel have agreed to. The question is Hamas going to agree to bring this war to an end? Just a couple of the highlights. Gaza will be a de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza. If both sides agree, the war will immediately end. Israeli forces will withdraw to the agreed-upon line to prepare for hostage release. During this time, all military operations, including aerial and artillery bombardment, will be suspended. Within 72 hours of Israel publicly accepting this agreement, all hostages, alive and deceased, will be returned. Israel will release 250 life sentence prisoners plus 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th, 2023, including all women and children detained in that context. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans. This is messy. By the way, Gaza will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee responsible for delivering the day-to-day running of public services and municipalities. The committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts with oversight and supervision by a new international transition body, the Board of Peace, which will be headed and chaired by President Donald J. Trump and other heads of state, including former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Thanks for being with us on this Tuesday morning. We're back at it in about 21 hours. For Lance, I'm Richard. Have a great day.
You're listening to a SuperTalk Mississippi media production.